When your Linux machine powers on, something has to start all the services that make it useful. Networking, logging, your display manager. That something is called an init system, and there are three you'll run into: SysVinit, OpenRC, and systemd. Today we'll look at how each one works, where they differ, and why the choice still sparks arguments. After the Linux kernel finishes loading itself into memory, it needs a user-space process to take over. That process is the init system. It always gets PID1, meaning it's the ancestor of everything else running on your machine. Its job is to start the right services in the right order, keep them running, and shut them down cleanly when you power off. Think of it as the stage manager behind a theater production. You never see it directly, but nothing happens without it. SysVinit is the grandfather. It borrows its design from Unix systemd, and it's been around since the early days of Linux. Every service gets a shell script that knows how to start, stop, and restart it. On boot, those scripts run one after another in a fixed order, which means if one service hangs, everything behind it waits. The trade-off is simplicity. You can read every script, understand exactly what it does, and fix problems with a text editor. Slackware still ships SysVinit, and some folks who want total transparency prefer it for that reason. OpenRC came out of the Gen 2 project as an answer to SysVinit's sequential bottleneck. It keeps the shell script model, so if you've written SysVinit scripts before, the jump is small, but it adds dependency tracking. You declare what your service needs, and OpenRC figures out the order and can start independent services at the same time. Technically, OpenRC isn't a full init system on its own. It's a framework that sits on top of a basic PID1 process, usually the one from SysVinit or BusyBox. Alpine Linux uses it widely, and so do Gen 2 and Arctics. Systemd is what most Linux distributions ship today, and is a fundamentally different design. Instead of shell scripts, you write declarative unit files that describe what should run and what it depends on. It starts services in parallel and uses a trick called socket activation. A service can begin listening before its daemon even launches, so nothing blocks. But systemd goes way beyond init. It handles logging through journals, manages user sessions, timers that replace cron jobs, and even network configuration. Critics say it's too big and violates the Unix philosophy of small, focused tools. Supporters say it solves real problems that the old approach couldn't. Here's a comparison laid out side by side. On boot speed, SysVinit is the slowest. It just runs things one after another. OpenRC adds parallel startup, which shaves off real seconds on machines with many services. Systemd takes it further with socket activation, where a service can start receiving connections before its process even loads. On the design side, SysVinit is pure shell scripts with no dependency awareness. OpenRC keeps scripts but lets you declare dependencies explicitly. Systemd replaces scripts entirely with unit files and uses Linux C groups to track every process, giving it tight control over what's running and what started it. If you're on a mainstream distro like Ubuntu or Fedora, you're already using systemd, and for most people, that's fine. If you want something lighter and script-based, OpenRC on Alpine or Gen 2 is a solid choice. And if you want the old-school transparency of SysVinit, Slackware keeps it alive. There's no single right answer, only trade-offs that matter to you. Thanks for watching Awesome Linux TV.